Tires, as we know them to be, are important components of vehicles. But did you know that recycled tires could be turned into beautiful works of home decor? Hello and welcome to Showcase. I'm Nafisa Abdul Al. Nigeria as a country is blessed with beautiful and creative talents who see greater opportunities in the world of contemporary entrepreneurship. One of these beautiful talents is Favour Olumo, who is a female entrepreneur who specializes in turning recycled tires into beautiful works of furniture. Stay with us as I bring you Favour's story. Waste management in Nigeria is patchy at best. In villages, towns and cities, piles of waste are a common sight, and residents often burn them at night for lack of a safer method of disposal. If you peer into the gutters of any big Nigerian city, a filthy sight awaits you. Floating cans, nylon water sachets, empty bottles, and other waste materials discarded by humans, swept there by rain, gathering and clogging up the drain. Among these waste materials are tires, which are routinely dumped and abandoned. Over 10 million tires are reportedly discarded annually in the country. Nigeria is a country heavily reliant on revenues from its oil exports. However, entrepreneur Favour Olumo has identified another type of black gold, converting used car tires into beautiful home decor. So, welcome to the program.
Thank you so
before
much.
we start, I just want you to introduce yourself to us, your name and your profession.
Okay, my name is Favour Olumo. I'm a 400 level of Federal University of Technology, Minna. I'm into recycling. I recycle used tires to household furnitures.
So you mentioned that you are still in school.
Yes, I'm still in school.
So what made you decide, because first of all, let's not even get into your business, you're an entrepreneur. A person who owns a business is an entrepreneur. So what motivated you to say, yes, I want to be an entrepreneur even before I graduate from school?
Okay, so first of all, I would say I'm very grateful for the lockdown, because if there wasn't a lockdown, I'm not sure I would be doing this. So during the lockdown, when I was just at home, I wasn't doing anything. We just sleep, wake up, sleep, wake up. I just thought of something that I saw a tire in my area and I was like, hi, I can do something with this tire. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. So I stumbled back, I thought of what I could do with this tire, and that was how I came up with something. I started working on it and I was able to work on a project, and after that I posted it on the social media. A lot of people saw it and they said they liked it, and since then that was how I started.
So many girls, it's surprising to me that when you saw the tire, you saw an opportunity, because many girls, including me, will see that tire, anything tire, vehicle repair, I'm not part of it. And I think most girls are like that. It's a male something. So as a female, what even made you think you could do something with this tire?
Okay, so first of all, I don't like the idea of burning tires. A lot of people, if they don't just throw the tires, they burn it. So during the lockdown, that was just made me stumble on the idea. I've already had the idea of making furniture, but the lockdown made it easier for me because I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't in school, so it was very easy for me to just make a furniture piece out of the tire.
So how do you even source the materials you use? Because judging by everything I see in your shop, in your workplace here, you use tires, you use materials, you use, I think, screws, or what is it? How do you source those things that you use? Especially, let's start from the tires. Where do you normally get them from?
Okay, first of all, I'm done picking all the tires in my area. So now I buy tires from vulcanizers. I get tires from my vulcanizers. Some of these other materials, there's a furniture market very close to us here. So I go there and source for some of the other materials I need to do to stumble on my work.
So how has your family, what were their first impressions when you told them that, okay, this is what I want to do?
Okay, so I told my family members about what I wanted to do, particularly my dad. My dad was the first person I told about what I wanted to do, and he encouraged me, but he still told me that school first. I was not like, Daddy, it's lockdown now, we are not in school. So he now said, okay, I can actually go about it, and that was how I started. But it's so unfortunate he wasn't able to see my first job because he died a week after.
So sorry for all this.
Thank you very much.
But I'm sure he'll be very proud of you, because it is not all the time you get to see people your age doing something as remarkable as this. And let's go back to a question that I asked you. I need you to elaborate more on it. Like I said, you're a businesswoman. That is what entrepreneurship is. So why did you decide, oh, I'm in school, I don't have to wait to graduate before I get a white-collar job, I'm going to start doing what I can do? Now, why did you decide to, apart from the reason that you saw the tire, obviously you're interested in making money for your own self?
I love independent women. Like, I love them so much. I love someone that can comfortably buy something for herself without her parents. Like, being in school, being a student, I would have to call my family to send me this, send me that. I was like, that has to stop. It must stop. I must find something to do. So that was how I started recycling. And since then, it has been a passion to me. It's not even about making the money now. It's something I love doing. So, but I've got a lot of inspiration from my family members. They are very supportive, and ever since then, I've just been happy working with them, because for now, I don't have any workers. It's just me and my friends that are doing the job.
How would you say you make your money while doing this business?
Okay, so most of my clients are in Abuja here, and I said this business is profitable because the most important thing here is the tire, and tires are not expensive, and the other materials used in this profession too are not really expensive. So that's why I said it's profitable. The only stress here now is you working on it.
So did you go have any formal training or education that would have helped you, or that is helping you in doing what you do now?
Okay, so when I first started, I didn't get any education from anywhere, but now I already want to enroll in a class for fun. I want to start taking furniture classes. I want to expand. I don't just want to do only furniture. I also want to recycle and make furnitures, like the normal furnitures we all know.
Okay, you keep saying recycle, recycle, so I have to ask you this question. Many, if not most or if not many youth don't even care about recycling. You can go out on the street and you see paper bags, you see pure water sachets, you see bottles. Nobody cares nobody cares to think, how can we turn this into, just the way you've done with the tires. So how did your interest even begin on recycling? How did you even think of that?
Most of the times when tires are all around the area, you see, that's where mosquitoes used to gather on, that's where you see plenty things on. And when they even burn tires, it releases carbon monoxide, which is very dangerous to our health. So that was why I stumbled on it, and I was like, oh, let me just do something with this.
Is this in any way related to your course of study in school?
No. I'm actually studying soil science and land management. It's an agricultural course. It has nothing to do with recycling.
How many products can you say you have made so far?
Okay, so far, since last year, I've made over 150 products from this business, yes.
And you mentioned that social media has played a part in your business. Can you expatiate on how much it has helped?
Social media has helped me a lot because most of my clients are from social media. Like in a day, I will just wake up and I will see notifications on my phone from Instagram, from LinkedIn, a lot of places, and sometimes I don't even know. Some of my friends will just send me a screenshot that they saw my work on Facebook, they saw my work here. So social media has helped me a lot. In fact, let me say like 90% of my clients are from social media.
Okay, is this because when I came, I think I noticed somebody helping you file something or whatever. Is this a one? Have you been able to employ anybody?
Okay, so I haven't been able to employ anybody, and that's because I don't have a workshop. I wouldn't want strangers to come into my home. So the people helping me are my siblings, my relatives. But in the long run, I guess in the future, I will definitely have a workshop and I will employ as lot of people I can.
Let's take a quick break. You're still watching Showcase. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, you're still watching Showcase, where we're having an interview with Favor, who is a female entrepreneur that turns recycled old tires into beautiful works of furniture. So Favor, as a young girl, and I'm sure you have female friends, and in your line of duty, you don't have the time to be all glam, doing makeup, hair. Do you face any type of peer pressure to be always looking peng like they do?
Like I said, I'm a student, so most times I actually look good in the morning and I do most of my work at night because I'm trying to balance school and what I love doing. Because if you leave me, I wouldn't want to continue this school, but I just have to do it because my dad told me that it's very important, and I know it's very important. Being in Nigeria, you must have a degree, even if you have the whole talents you have, you must just have a degree.
I don't think many women work with tires. You may see few female mechanics and whatever that they use tires and all that. I think it is a male-dominated profession for you to be doing carpentry and whatever. So have you had any challenges in convincing people to patronize you just because you are a female and you are doing something that men usually do?
Yes, I have lost like a client because of criticism. Like the woman was like, she saw a picture of what I did and she sent it to me and like, Favor, are you the one that did this stuff? I said, yes, ma, I was the one that made this. And she was like, she can't believe that. I was like, I can show you the process of me doing this. And even as I sent her the process, she kept on insisting that she doesn't want what you get versus what you receive. And I kept convincing her that, ma, I actually did this, and that was how she just told me to just leave her alone, and that was how everything ended, and I lost the clients.
Can you say that is the saddest moment in your career, or do you have a sad moment?
Yes, it was like, I really felt bad about it, like losing a job for me being a female, I was like, wow, like it's not actually
and
good.
coming
You're
from
not,
a woman herself.
yes,
that
like
she
you're
should
not
encourage you.
encouraging me. You would have given me to, like, test me, just test me to see what I can do. But then no, you insisted that you weren't going to give me the job. So it was not really good for me. I felt bad, actually. I felt bad.
So how did you manage to rise from that situation and say, oh,
Like
she
I
cannot
said,
daunt me, I must still keep on going?
It's something I love doing. So it was just for that moment. I felt bad for that moment, and after then, I've gotten over it. I've been doing very well since then.
Okay, what can you say is the funniest moment you've had through the course of this job?
Okay. Most times I love considering my customers because, like I said, most of my clients are here in Abuja. So anytime I have bulk orders, I actually leave school. I take a break and come down to Abuja to work on some of my work. So there was a time I was coming from Minna to Abuja, and all these trailers, they blocked the road because the government told them not to pass and it was going to spoil the road. So I had to take bike from a point to another point, and people were just laughing at me because they saw me with wood, they saw me with tire. They were like, ah, where is this girl taking this tire? Like, people were looking at me and they were laughing at me. Some were laughing at me. They were like, why are you moving with all this? I didn't even answer them because they are not even my concern. So that was like the funniest moment to me. It was funny to me, actually. it's
actually very funny. See, maybe if you were not in your shoes, you would have laughed at you. What are the challenges you face on a daily?
I have a lot of challenges. First of all, I don't have a workshop. It's very inconvenient for me doing my work at home because most of these my machines make a lot of sound, and I'm sure I'm disturbing the people that are living here. Yes, I don't have finance to actually start up my business properly because I have a lot of ideas in my head, and Nigerians, they have to see something before they will believe that you can actually do this thing. And NEPA too is another problem. Owning the gen always serves, someone is even noise to me. So I'll have to on my gen because most of my tools, they work with lights. I'll have to on my gen to work with all those things. And being a student again, that one is very stressful. Combining school and my work is really stressful, but regardless, I must finish school. By the way, I'm in my 400 level, just 1 year left.
You mentioned recycling a lot. So how do you think, for those who don't know, I just want you to enlighten people a bit, because by you recycling these tires, you are not contributing to the climate problem that we have. So how do you think recycling materials, whether it be it papers or tires or whatever, how do you think they can be helpful to our environment?
Okay, so like it's very unhealthy to see litters around. So recycling this thing would be very good. Like instead of burning these tires, you can actually recycle them to household furniture, like something you can even keep in your house and admire it. So recycling is like the way for me.
So if, apart from tires, is there any other thing you think we can be able to recycle?
Yes, there are a lot of things we can recycle. We can recycle sachets, we can recycle leather, we can recycle paper. But for now, I'm just based on tire, but in the long run, I would love to go into other areas of recycling, not just tires.
And you know that Nigeria is facing a very big unemployment issue. Like most youth are not employed. And now the focus is, let us move our focus from only oil money. Let's try and look for other means where we can generate income. So do you think if more people were to understand the business behind recycling material, do you think it can contribute to our economy?
Yes, it can actually contribute to our economy because recycling, most times, I would say you don't even need training. Just think of something and start doing it. And I think you can, like for me now, by God's grace, once I have a workshop, I'm going to employ a lot of people, and that's going to reduce unemployment.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you hope to achieve during this?
Okay, in the next 5 years, I want to say by God's grace, I'll have my showroom here in Abuja and in 5 other states in Nigeria. Then I also want to have a showroom in South Africa because I currently have someone I'm working with now in South Africa where we want to establish a storeroom there. But I'm just insisting that I must make one in my country first before I move down.
That's very smart. You grow the economy in your country before you go elsewhere.
Yes, so I see myself in different countries. Yes, basically.
Okay, so far, has the government, because you mentioned one of the challenges you face is that of finance. Do you think if the government did more in providing ample funds for youth like yourself to to grow their business? Do you think it will help?
Yes, I feel it's going to help, because if the government had helped me do something, like I would have gotten a showroom by now. And
so they have not offered any help?
No, for Nigeria government, I've not gotten any help. But then there's someone in the United States that wants to help me, and that's what we are working on.
Like now, I think since 2016 also, we have noticed a wave of people investing and doing more about made in Nigeria products. Now you see clothes that are made in Nigeria, from the fabric down to the sewing. You see shoes, and now you're recycling tires. Do you think we as Nigerians should be more focused on growing making our own products with raw materials found in our own country, rather than buying from outside and importing back into the country?
Yes, we are supposed to even make our own products to grow our economy, because I think Nigeria's economy is very low now. So I feel it's going to be very good for us to make made in Nigeria products, and I'm very proud to be making one.
No matter all what you've been through regarding challenges and what inspires you to keep pushing, that I must not give up, I must go achieve what I want to achieve?
Why I'm not giving up is because of the clients I'm having now. A lot of clients have been coming to me and they've been patronizing me, and that alone will not even make me give up. So I won't give up, because number one, it's my passion, and a lot of people are inspiring me to do more. Like, they want to see me do more, so I'm very inspired to do more.
When you leave school, when you finally graduate, do you still want to continue in this line of business, or do you want to get a 9-to-5 job?
Once I'm done with school, my plan is to focus on my business. Once I've established my business, then I'll proceed to do my master's.
Your master's, but all the while you still want to continue?
Yes, I want to continue my business.
Okay, so finally, what advice do you have, or what would you like to say to other young female entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs like yourself that are trying to make a living for themselves, irrespective of how bad the situation of the country and the economy is? What advice would you like to give them?
Okay, I would like to tell them that don't just focus on the money. Just do it because you love doing it, and definitely you will grow bigger than this. Maybe in the future you'll see yourself and, God, this was how I started, but now look at me now. So just keep doing what you're doing, and I believe you will grow.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I once read a quote somewhere that says a woman should be two things: who and what she wants to be. For Favour and other female entrepreneurs like herself who are excelling in male-dominated professions, fear and intimidation is simply not an option. The zeal to thrive and use their talents in impacting the society positively comes above all challenges that they may face. On this note, we have come to the end of this episode. We hope as usual you found it interesting and inspiring. We'll be back next week with another mind-blowing package. I'm Nafisa Abdul Al. Thank you for watching.